Frozen to the bone. There's darkness in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Trek Canon. Today, I'm going to be talking about one of America's most beloved and long-lasting sci-fi series, and that is the Stargate SG-1 franchise. Now, for everybody who watches my channel, you guys are keenly aware that I love both Star Trek and I love Stargate. And I've often made comparisons as to how the writers of Star Trek used to go and moonlight on the show for Stargate. But I didn't make any good examples. I didn't make an actual video dedicated to something like that. So I figured I'd do a short video today that kind of highlighted some of the comparisons and reasons why I thought that that was the case. So let's just start with the concept itself. The Stargate, a ring where you input an address and you go to a location where there's another gate and you basically end up on that world. And it's a lot of, techno babble that goes along with that. But the thing in Star Trek that most resembles that would be the Iconian gate. Yeah, you don't have to put an Iconian gate on every planet, but it's got to be some kind of way they get back home, right? Would you think they have to bring a gate through the gate with them? Now, next, let's talk about the Asuran, or a lot of people might call them the human form replicators. Now, look, the human form replicators, right, just on a surface level, is straight up the board, all right? Even though they have vastly different missions, directives, and all that kind of stuff, basically, like I said, these are similar stories, similar races, similar situations that were tweaked and twerked a little bit and just changed just a bit for the Stargate franchise. Now let's talk about the Tok'ra. The Tok'ra in Stargate SG-1. Of course, you guys know that the Tok'ra are part parasitic organism and host. And basically, they switch back and forth. They share memories, history, and all that kind of stuff. You guys already know where I'm going with this, and that's going to be the same type of people as the Trill from Stargate, from Star Trek. Yeah, the Trill. Yeah, they basically do the same thing, except it's a simultaneous hybrid blending for the Trill instead of a switch back and forth as it is with the Tok'ra. Yeah, of course, and one of the most easiest and just long running jokes is the Furlings, which of course reminds people of the Ewoks. Wait, that's not Star Trek. Oh, right. That's Star Wars, of course, of course, of course. Well, how about this one? Since I wasn't really ready for it, how about the Paluxians, or from the beings from Pollux 4? You guys are, I don't know if they was originally from Pollux 4, it was stated both sides in that. Anyway, you guys will know them as the race of Apollo. That was in Star Trek. Yeah, the people who would best be represented by them in Stargate, I would go so far as to say the Asgard with Thor and all those kind of people. Both of them have humans worshiping. The Asgard don't really require it. They both try to lead humanity towards prosperity and advancement and all of that. Yeah, that's big. Yeah, let's just try that one. Okay, so back on topic. We got the At-Ur. I don't speak Egyptian, but that's how the word right there. At-Ur. Okay, basically what this is a biological organism that's sentient. It comes through the Stargate. They bring through the Stargate in this little device. It starts to spread throughout Stargate, and it starts to inhabit O'Neill, where it's able to communicate. Another thing is it's affected by light. So the higher the light is, the more energetic this bacteria becomes and starts to go around. Now, I don't know if you guys remember the ugly bags of mostly water, right? But they had a similar thing too. You guys know them as the micro brains. Yeah, basically they existed in the sand, man. They had a collective consciousness. The more of them they get together, the smarter that they get. And yeah, they was affected by the level of light. So in SG-1, right, you had these kids that the Goa'uld had genetically modified. So basically, when they went through the gate, they would have an aqueduct bomb start to form up inside of them, and they'll blow up. Basically, they was dangerous to everybody around them, and they didn't really understand that, right? Now, that's the same thing that can be said about the kids from the episode Unnatural Selection from season 2 of of Star Trek: The Next Generation, right? Except for an aqueduct bomb that was going to grow inside these kids. These kids had an immune system that actively sought out people and basically attacked them and started to age and kill them. But I get back to that. All right, now let's get to some of the more just simply obvious ones. Do you guys remember the Ritu from Stargate, right? Do they seem in any way familiar with the Tholians from Star Trek? Yeah, Tholians from Star Trek. The Ritu is same type of species. Of course, you have the Ancients from Stargate, and you have the Ascended from Star Trek. Now, who could forget the Aura from Stargate and the Power Wraith from Star Trek. Now I'm gonna have to figure out which one of those came first because I think they was roughly about the same time they came out. But you know what I mean. You know what? Fine. Species, they could be, subjective. You could see any type of qualities and any type of species from all different types of series. All right. And last but not least, we have the Knox, man. There's some unassuming race of individuals that the SG-1 team runs across hanging out in the forest, man, just chilling out in the forest, being one with nature. Now, the thing about the Knox is, man, like I said, they very unassuming. They look helpless. They look primitive. They look like they have no means of defending themselves, no type of concept of science, any of that type of things, right? They just look helpless. And the SG-1 ends up, man, trying to stay on this planet, man, to defend these guys, the Nox, from Epathas, who sent people down there, man, to kind of kidnap the Nox. I mean, try to kill SG-1, man, and find this thing, man, that makes itself invisible. But see, the thing is, man, if you was to go to Star Trek, you got an exact replicant of the Nox in what's called the Organians. Yes, you go to Organia, man. Kirk them roll up on Organia because the Klingons is trying to take over this place, man. Because the Organians seem unassuming, man, just primitive, off in a little desert town, man, somewhere doing desert town stuff. Come to find out, the Organians, like the Nox, is some of the most super advanced people in each of their perspective canons. All right, how about these episodes? This episode called Revisions from Stargate, right? Basically, the team encounters this planet, this small town, where people have these things, these technological devices hooked up to their heads, and it's controlled. They get data and everything from this computer system. Anyway, they start to notice that people are slowly starting to disappear that they didn't met in this town, and when they start to question everybody, they like, "Yo, we don't know who you talking about. None of these people ever existed. Like they was wiped from the memory, wiped from existence of this small town." Now I'm not gonna get into the spoilers of that, but if you guys remember, we had a similar situation in an episode, Remember Me, from Star Trek: The Next Generation, where Dr. Crusher was trapped inside that warp bubble, and basically the same thing was going on. People was disappearing, but nobody was remembering how these people was around. It looked like it's a lot of similarities. Okay, how about this? Remember I said we was gonna get back to those kids from Unnatural Selection? In Stargate, right, you had this episode called Brief Candle, I believe it was, where they met these race of people, right, who their physiology caused O'Neill to start aging, or he took a ritual or something like that where he start aging like super fast and all that kind of stuff. Does that remind you of the episode The Deadly Years, right, from Star Trek, the original series? And yes, I know that almost every series ends up with a Groundhog Day type episode, right? But in Stargate, you have one called Window of Opportunity, right? Where Tilk and O'Neill is basically spending every day trapped inside Stargate Command in the same day. And you have the same thing in Cause and Effect, where the crew of the Enterprise is in a time loop, constantly getting rammed by this other Federation starship. Yeah, but I guess, yeah, everybody does have a Groundhog Day episode, right? Or or how about this? The episode Bane from Stargate, where Tilt gets infected and bitten by this insect while they was on another planet. And okay, anyway, it's bad. It's bad for him. It starts to infect. It turned into a cocoon. He's gonna be a hybrid. I hope. Like, it's a bad situation for Tilt, right? But if you remember the episode Operation Annihilate from the original series, basically the same thing was going on with Spock. And I'm gonna have to say, as soon as I seen some things running around looking like that, I would have did the exact thing that they did right here. Like that would have been probably been my first reaction. And just one of my favorite, undeniably, just we gonna tweak it just a little bit. Episodes is this episode in Stargate called The Fifth Man. Right, everybody on the Stargate on the SG-1 team remembers this dude that's the lieutenant that they trying to defend from the Goa'uld, trying to capture this dude, right? Everybody remember this guy. Everybody who get exposed to this guy clearly remember we got history with this dude. We know what this dude looked like. What was his name? Lieutenant Tyler. We know everything about Lieutenant Tyler, right? Now think about the episode. What was it? Conundrum from Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yeah, everybody knew this commander dude. You couldn't tell him nothing. This dude was in the computers, right? Everybody got memory of this dude. Come to find out, this dude is a whole nother dude. Look. Okay, you know what? I'm not even gonna leave it on speculation because I know there's got to be Star Trek writers who moonlit for Stargate because there was way too many people. Look, let's ask some people from Star Trek if there was any writers that went over to Stargate. Let's just ask some people. Yo, Tony Tide, man. What about you, man? You know Dwight Schultz, Nicole D. Boer, for instance. How about Armin Shimmerman? Let's ask Renee Auberjonois. Let's ask John Billingsley, Jolene Blalock, or Marina Sirtis. How about John Delancey? Just ask Q. Q know everything. Let's ask Connor Trenier. Let me tell you something. Michael's run in SG1 was just awesome. Look, let's ask Calm Meany or Robert Picardo. Robert Picardo had the actual hookup because he took over on Stargate Atlantis for a whole season. Man, look. There's many similarities between Stargate and Star Trek, and that's I think is one of the reasons why Stargate is such a popular show and such an awesome show and long running show because of the similarities it shares with the awesomeness that is Star Trek. But if anybody want to dispute this, man, or any episodes that I just left out because both of them is like forever long, man, I ain't want this video to be super long. I want to keep it under a certain amount of time, man. But anyway, leave it in the comments. And as always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. And as always, peace, recycle, and say to whales, you guys be cool.
Your cold, cold